welcome back everybody. We will continue our discussions on properties of pure substances. In fact, we drew the TV diagram in the previous class, and we saw how if you supply energy to a simple compressible pure substance, for example like water or let us say carbon dioxide or any other liquid or gas or even solid substance that you can think of, if you supply energy, how its phase changes, how first of all how its thermodynamic states change, its temperature and specific volume change, and then we also saw how the phase how there is phase transition and it gets converted from liquid to saturated liquid to liquid vapor mixture and so on, and to saturated vapor and then to superheated vapor. We also talked about critical pressure. We said that above critical pressure there is no distinct phase change process, and below critical pressure there will be a distinct phase change process, as in you will always have a saturated liquid state, a saturated vapor state. In between you will have saturated liquid vapor mixture. Okay, so we will continue with that today. Let me again redraw the PV diagram, just to maybe I will draw from here. So let me redraw the PV diagram. So the TV diagram, sorry, the temperature volume diagram for a simple compressible pure substance, we noted that looks something like this. So it's qualitatively speaking, it looks something like this. So this part, the left part is the saturated liquid line, this right part is the saturated vapor line, and this top point we noted is called as the critical, this is the critical point, and we noted that you can draw isobars through this. So a typical isobar might look something like isobar, as in if you change the properties, or rather if you supply energy to a pure simple compressible substance at constant pressure, the subsequent change in thermodynamic state that occurs, that we represent in terms of an isobar on this 2D diagram. So an isobar might look something like this. Okay, this is how an isobar looks like, and this, as we said, it remains more or less true for all simple compressible pure substances, and we do not really need to know the details of this diagram, because you just need to know how it qualitatively, how does it look in a qualitative way, and the rest will be taken care of by property tables that we will extensively refer to in this course. Okay. So let us move on. So this we draw, and now so we said that temperature and volume, these are independent state properties for a simple compressible pure substance. Instead we could have also chosen pressure and volume, right. So P and V, these are also independent state properties, independent intensive properties, and so I can also represent a process like this, or the entire phase change process that we are talking about on a PV diagram, right. So this is TV diagram. Similarly I can also draw a PV diagram for a simple compressible pure substance. So I will not go through the details of it, because it looks very similar to what we did for a TV diagram. So I will very briefly mention how it looks like. I will encourage all of you to read from the prescribed textbook for the course, and you will find more details there. Okay, it really is very similar, description is very similar. So I have so on the x axis I will do volume, on the y axis I will have pressure, and similar to TV diagram I will again have a liquid vapor dome, yeah, so liquid, so this is called a vapor dome or a mixture zone. Here also I will have a similar vapor dome which might look something like this. So let me draw this here, maybe something like this. So for this case it's slightly more symmetric. Okay, so this is the liquid vapor dome, and in PV, so in TV diagram we drew isobars. So these are isobars, isobars, the pressure remains constant throughout, whereas here we can't really draw isobar because isobar here will be a horizontal line. So, here we will draw something called isotherms. So, we will draw isotherms. So, these writings are visible, right. Okay. Isotherms meaning that, so iso, as I said in the previous class, iso means that it something remains same, that something here is therm meaning temperature. So, on isotherms temperature remains constant on an isotherm, whereas this is an isobar because, or maybe isobar because the pressure remains constant here. Okay. So, an isotherm here might look something like, will look something like this. So, it will be in the opposite direction because we know that if you increase pressure, the volume decreases, right. If you increase pressure of a gas, the gas or the vapor decreases in volume. Similarly, for a liquid, if you compress the liquid, the volume decreases, albeit very by very small amount. Okay. Whereas here we had the opposite effect because if you increase temperature by keeping the pressure constant, the volume increases. Whereas here we will keep the temperature constant and increase pressure, which is why the volume will decrease. Okay. So, an isotherm will look something like this. So, something like this, and this part will be extremely vertical. So, something like this. So, this will again not be a straight line, please excuse my drawing. So, this might be an isotherm, sorry, I have placed the arrows in the wrong way. So, right. So, maybe I should place the arrows this way, that way, and then this way, that is okay. Okay. So, this is how an isotherm might look like. So, this might be an isotherm at, let us say 100 degrees Celsius. That means that, and if we are considering water, if this is H2O water, then we know what this pressure is. This pressure is just the saturation pressure, which we know at for 100 degrees Celsius, saturation pressure is nothing but 1 atmospheric pressure. This is 1 atmospheric pressure, and this is saturated vapor. Just like this diagram, this was saturated vapor. Here, this is saturated vapor. You can see very easily because it has higher specific volume, right. This is saturated vapor. This is saturated liquid. This is saturated liquid, and on the left side of this dome you have compressed liquid. On the right hand side of this dome, on this side you have saturated vapor, or you have superheated vapor, sorry, and this is saturated vapor, this is saturated liquid, very similar as I said to our previous TV diagram. So, let me draw another, maybe another isotherm. So, at a higher temperature the isotherm will look something like this. Might look something like, again very vertical. So, let me something like this, sorry, something like this. Okay. So, you can understand what is happening on a given isotherm. You suppose you are starting here. So, you are starting at a relatively high pressure, and let us say you are starting at a relatively high, or maybe you know what, let us do this. Let us represent the same the process that we talked about in the previous class, heating of or supplying energy to water starting from 1 atmospheric pressure, but we were doing it in an isobaric way. So, we are keeping the pressure constant. Here we have to keep the temperature constant. So, if you try to locate the initial starting point of our previous example that we took, heating of water or supplying energy to water, it will be located somewhere here, right. This will be located somewhere here because the water to begin with was in subcooled liquid state at 1 atmospheric pressure at a given temperature, which will be somewhere here, right. So, if I am to draw an isotherm through this, it will look something like that. So, it will look something like maybe like this, like that, something like this, right. So, what you are doing essentially is that you are starting from subcooled liquid here, and then slowly you are supplying energy to the system, keeping the temperature constant. So, if you supply energy to the system keeping the temperature constant, the system will expand, right. It will try to expand and its pressure will go down. So, it is expanding, as you can clearly see that the volume is increasing. You are supplying energy, the system is expanding, its volume is increasing and the pressure is dropping, and then it hits the saturated liquid state. You supply more energy, the saturated liquid gets started converting into saturated vapor, and this process is represented by this horizontal line, and throughout the process, as we discussed earlier, the temperature and pressure remains constant. As you can see here, the temperature remains constant and pressure is constant by definition. Here also you can see that the temperature is constant by definition because this is an isotherm, and the pressure is remaining constant from the because this is horizontal line, right. So, the pressure and temperature remains constant throughout this phase change process, and then you hit the saturated vapor phase, and if you supply more energy, this goes into superheated vapor, okay, and the volume keeps on increasing, the pressure keeps on dropping, okay, and you can also reverse the process, of course, and you can condense and go through condensation, and then you can eventually get back to subcooled liquid, right. And then you have the critical point here, which is here, this is the critical point, and the isotherm through the critical point will look something like this. I will maybe draw it with a black, not black, maybe with a red color. Okay, this is a bit difficult to draw. It's not touching exactly, but anyway, you get my point, I think. Something like this. So, the isotherm through the critical point would look something like this. Maybe I can draw a little bit better, something like this, yeah. So, it is not exactly quantitatively correct, but qualitatively this is how it looks like. So, maybe redraw the, yeah, okay, okay. So, this is the pressure volume diagram. It is also sometimes helpful to refer to the pressure volume diagram, and we will refer to both of these diagrams from time to time as we move forward and talk about different thermodynamic processes. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. It's basically it's the same process. It looks very similar to a TV diagram. Just remember that if you increase pressure, the volume tend to decrease. If you increase pressure on a liquid or on a gas, their volume decrease. Albeit for a liquid, this decrease in temperature is very small. For gas, for liquid, this decrease in volume is very small, and for a gas, this decrease in volume is relatively larger. For a solid, also this change in volume is extremely small. Okay. All right. So, let us what we can now do is we can actually go one step further, and we can so far we have only talked about liquid phase and vapor phase, right. So, here if I may point out, so this part of the diagram, or maybe that part, not this, yeah. So, that part of the diagram one can call this, we can call subcooled liquid. So, remember that here subcooled liquid was this part. So, whatever was below the critical temperature and left of the vapor dome, that we call subcooled liquid, right. Here we are doing the same thing. This is the critical this is TCR, the isotherm corresponding to critical temperature. So, whatever is below the critical temperature, we are calling it compressed or subcooled liquid. Whatever is on the right hand side. So, you might remember that this part we called superheated vapor. This was called superheated vapor. Similarly, here also this part will call superheated vapor. So, this is superheated vapor, and this is so as we have mentioned, this is above the critical, this is, so not this one, maybe what I will do is maybe, yeah, so maybe slightly redraw this, so maybe draw that, yeah. So this part we will call such superheated vapor, and this part, as you can see, this is the substance existing above critical pressure, and this we will, and it is also above critical temperature. So it is in this region. So this is existing in in this region, somewhere in this region. Okay. So that region we called as simply as the vapor state. Sometimes it is also called as the superheated vapor, but as we can understand, as we can recall, there is really no distinct change, or there is really no distinct boundary between subcooled liquid and superheated vapor if you go above the critical pressure. Right. So there is a continuous change that happens from this to that phase. Okay. But this we can also call vapor state. Okay. So we have so far only talked about liquids and vapor. Now let us, what we will do is we will quickly also introduce the solid phase here. So you can actually include the solid part of the, or the the solid phase of the substance inside the PV diagram. That is, let us do that quickly. So what we will do is I will redraw the diagram here again. This is PV. Let me draw the vapor dome. The vapor dome, let me draw it slightly to the right. I want to make space, so it will look something like this. Okay. And then you have, so if you lower the temperature, you come down. If you make the temperature higher, you go up. That is the general directions in which you will go. And at so at lower if you lower the temperature, of course you can understand that eventually you will hit solid phase, right. You keep on lowering the temperature, right. If you, and also if you keep on lowering the temperature, you would hit solid phase even if you are keeping the pressure constant, right. Other way around, if you keep the temperature constant and keep and increase the pressure, then also you will go towards solid phase, provided that the substance contracts under freezing. So now what we will do is we will only talk about we will now talk about substances that contract upon freezing. So this is not water, okay, because water we know it expands upon freezing. Water expands upon freezing, so it is not water. This can be, for example, carbon dioxide. You can have liquid carbon dioxide and freeze it. Liquid carbon dioxide upon freezing will contract, okay, or any other material. For example, you can take molten iron, you can freeze it, and molten iron will, when it freezes, it will contract, okay. So normally substances do contract upon freezing, but water is a notable exception, okay. So if you so eventually what happens is, if you lower the temperature enough, you hit the solid phase, which we can represent with a line like this. So I can draw a line like this. Maybe I should not draw this, or maybe I can draw this like this. So okay. So this line is called as the triple line, and okay, I will point that out later. So below this line you will have solid. So if you have, let us say, below this line you have solid. So this region you have solid. So obviously solids are usually, they have, or not usually, they have very low specific volume, high density. So they will obviously be to the left of this diagram, but they can exist at all pressures. So this left hand side of the diagram will be taken up by solids, that we can understand, okay. And then of course if you keep on increasing the pressure by holding the temperature constant, we know that you eventually make a liquid into solid, provided it contracts upon freezing. Okay. So, that is basically freezing phenomena, or other way around, if you supply energy, that will be melting phenomena. Okay. So, this is liquid to vapor phase change. Similarly, we will also have solid to liquid phase change, okay, above this line. So, that so the saturated liquid line when freezing at freezing point will be represented by something like this. So, that line is almost vertical for substances which contract upon freezing. So, this is the saturated liquid line. Okay, I will point that out later. Similarly, you will also have a saturated solid line which will look something like this. Something like this is almost vertical, and then you will have another line which looks like this. This line is the saturated solid line. So, let me point that out. This is saturated solid, okay, including this line. So, this is also saturated solid. Maybe remove that and write here, this is saturated solid. This we know, this is saturated vapor. Okay, this is vapor liquid mixture, this is vapor plus liquid mixture or saturated. This is, we know this as saturated liquid line, okay, and this line. So, this one, maybe I will draw it with a blue thing. So, this line is also the saturated liquid line, but this is at freezing point. This is at freezing point. Okay. So, on the left of this saturated solid line, you will have solid. So, here this phase is solid, this part is you can understand this is this part represents solid to liquid phase transfer, phase change, not phase transfer, solid to liquid phase change. So, this is solid plus liquid mixture. Again, remember, this is for a substance that contracts upon freezing. Okay. So, for water this will slightly change, and that I will not represent here in the class. It is a bit difficult to explain. So, you have to really think about it. I will encourage you to look into the book textbook that has been prescribed for this course to see how does it look like for water, right. Usually, as I said, for most substances we see that they contract upon freezing. So, this is true for most substances with a notable exception of water. Okay. So, solid plus liquid mixture, and this is of course liquid, this part is liquid, this is superheated vapor. Okay. And this is liquid vapor mixture. So, on the left of this you always have solid, and as you can see, you can have solid at very high pressure, but their specific volume will be very low. Okay. Alright. And similarly, by the way, when you change from solid to liquid, that is the melting process. When you are changing phase from supplying energy and the substance is changing phase from solid to liquid, what is happening is, in the process the temperature and the pressure both remain constant, right. So, in this region like an isotherm will look something like this. So, maybe I will draw an isotherm like this. So, maybe I should draw some from somewhere here. This will be extremely vertical, something like this. This part of the isotherm is we have already drawn here. So, whatever we have drawn here, this is that part of the isotherm. Okay. So, you can see that it is going through compressed liquid or subcooled liquid state, hitting saturated liquid, then hitting saturated vapor, and then going to superheated vapor. And now here it is going into the phase of saturated liquid at freezing point, right. So, then you if you extract more heat, what happens is, this is the process that goes in. So, so before this, if you had supplied heat or before this, or before supplying heat at this phase, it was it would have been in a solid liquid mixture state. Okay. So, you may have started from this point, supplied heat, and then that would have melted the solid, which would follow a path like this. The pressure and the temperature remains constant, and then once you are in the solid phase, you again go up like this. Again, the slope will be extremely large. Okay. Although this is not an exact representation, this is how it qualitatively looks like. The slopes and all you can find from the books. If you look into the actual property tables or actual charts, actual diagram, you will find a very good idea, very accurate idea of the slope. This is just a pictorial schematic representation to give you an idea. Okay. It is just a hand drawn picture. So, then this line, as I was mentioning, this line is called as the triple line. So, this is a line on which you can see liquid, solid and vapor both can exist in equilibrium, right. This is called as a triple line, where liquid, solid, vapor both can exist in equilibrium. So, saturated liquid plus saturated solid plus saturated vapor all can exist in equilibrium on the triple line. Okay. So, if you come below the triple line, that means you are lowering the temperature. What happens is, or if you come below the triple line, this you can see is direct solid to vapor phase change. Okay. So, here you have solid liquid mixture, then solid liquid mixture to liquid, then liquid to liquid vapor mixture, and then to superheated vapor. But here you can see you have solid to solid vapor mixture, and then to superheated vapor, right. So, this is direct solid to vapor conversion, which we know is called as sublimation. So, this region below the triple line, this is where sublimation takes place. And we know various substances which sublimate. For example, naphthalene is an example which sublimates. Okay. All right. So, this is sublimation. All right. Again, these are just pieces of information. Generally, as I said, for most substances which contract upon freezing, if you bring in the solid phase also, if you try to include the solid phase in your PV diagram, this is how it looks like. Okay. You have, just like you had saturated liquid and saturated vapor lines, you have two additional lines which are saturated liquid line at freezing point and saturated solid line at freezing point. This is saturated liquid because if you extract any heat from this, energy from this, its temperature will not change, rather it will quickly start changing its phase and get converted into solid. Okay. Just like we defined for saturated vapor. Okay. So, these are just pieces of information, and I believe you can, if you refer to the textbook in more details, you will find all this information there. Okay. So, let us do one more thing, and then our discussion on at least the properties, how properties change upon supplying energy, the qualitative description part will become complete. So, we have done PV, we have done TV, let us do PT, right. And we have noted, by the way, that pressure and temperature are not independent properties always. They are independent when you are, rather if I refer to this picture, they are independent when you are in compressed liquid state, they are independent when you are superheated vapor state or somewhere here, but they are not independent when you are inside the vapor dome. So, once you fix the temperature, the pressure is fixed and vice versa. So, let us try to draw the PT diagram. Okay. For again a simple compressible pure substance, that is implied. So, we have temperature and P. Okay. So, the PT diagram. So, usually what we will do is, as we have noted, the saturation pressure is a strong function of saturation is a strong function of temperature, The other way around is also true. So, saturation temperature is a strong function of maybe a different function f star maybe of P. So, once you fix the pressure, the saturation temperature is fixed. Once you fix the temperature, the saturation pressure is also fixed. Okay. So, let us try to draw the saturation pressure curve, this curve. This curve let us try to draw, and you will see that this for a substance that contracts upon freezing. So, for this same substance, this is a monotonically increasing function, right, for a substance that contracts upon freezing. Okay. So, let me draw the PSAT curve. So, PSAT curve will look something like this. So, you will have something like that. Okay. This is okay. I'll denote the phases later. This is the triple point. Again, I'll mention that what I am drawing here is PSAT versus T. Okay, saturation pressure at a given temperature, right. So, this is temperature. I am drawing saturation pressure as a function of temperature. So, basically, what I am trying to draw is the pressure corresponding to these lines. Okay, this line and then these lines. This is what I am trying to draw. Okay. So, this is the saturation pressure line, and here we have solid. This side we have vapor, right. So, this phase transfer, if you, or this phase change, if you go from here to here, this phase change would be here. In this case, it will be sublimation, right. You are going from solid to vapor directly. Then you are hitting triple point. So, you are basically on this line. Okay. You can see that on this line, by definition, the temperature and pressure remain constant. Pressure is constant, you can see it is a line, horizontal line, and temperature is constant by definition because we are drawing isotherms. Okay. And also during phase change process, temperature remains constant. So, this is the triple point. So, this entire line will essentially become one point because we are drawing pressure versus temperature. Now, what will happen is you will have from triple point onwards, you will have two saturation pressures. So, one from corresponding to melting and one corresponding to like boiling. Okay. So, one corresponding to melting or solidification, and one saturation pressure corresponding to boiling or condensation. Okay. So, the boiling part will be something like this. Okay. And the melting part will look something like, maybe something like this. Okay. Melting part will look something like this. So, this corresponds to, so this is sublimation. Let me write that down. This is sublimation. This is triple point. This is boiling, and this represents melting. Okay. And here you always have solid. This part to the most right, you always have vapor. This is vapor, and in between, so this region is liquid. Okay. This is true for, again, for substances which contract upon freezing. Okay. Notable exception is water, of course. However, for water, except the melting part, these two lines remain roughly the same. I mean, the values will be different, but they look the same. So, for all simple compressible pure substances, this part of the graph remains more or less the same. So, this part and then that part, these two parts remain more or less the same. For simple compressible pure substances which contract upon freezing, you will have the melting line like this. Although this looks like, it is the same graph, it is not exactly the same graph, it has different slope, and again this is a representation, and more detailed, quantitatively accurate description you will find in the book. This is just I am trying to give you a qualitative overview of the phase change process. So, for water, as I said, this part will remain more or less the same, but the melting part, so the saturation pressure corresponding to melting will look something like this. So, it will have a slight negative slope like this, right. That is what it would look like for water. So, this is star, let me, it is difficult for me to write there. So, star represents for substances that expand upon freezing. Okay. And this is all the melting curve, that is the saturation pressure corresponding to melting. So, for example, this is water, okay, because they expand upon melting, they expand upon freezing, they expand upon freezing, this curve has a slight negative slope, okay. Okay. So, this is the PT diagram, and if I pick one just to represent, just to give you more a better idea, if I pick a point here, or if I pick, so that point will correspond to a point, will correspond to some point like this on this diagram, TV diagram. This point is somewhere, might be somewhere there, exactly on this line, this is boiling line, right. If I pick a point, let us say here, okay, this we have not shown in the TV diagram, that point will be somewhere here, okay. The triple line will be this point will be this point, and if I pick some point, maybe let us say here, or we represent this by different elements, this. So, if I pick this some point here, that will be, assuming that the substance contracts upon freezing, that point might be somewhere here on the, so exactly on this melting curve. If I pick a point, maybe maybe somewhere here. So, this point will correspond to solid, that means somewhere here. If I pick one point there, this will be in the liquid phase, so somewhere there, and a point here will be a point here, translate into a point there, okay. So, these are some overviews of which sections of this diagrams map into which section on this PT diagram, okay. Okay. So, this is just a bunch of information, although we can extract a lot of understanding from it, but it is basically information. So, I will encourage you to read more of the book. Information you will find more and more in books, okay. It is better to read books if you want to get some information, okay.